All right, so we are here with Last Crack, namely
Donnie Bakken guitar.
Buddo.
Todd Winger.
Paul Schluter.
Chris Havey.
in case we forgot, what does Butter do?
What's that?
What does Butter do?
I'm a singer.
Oh, okay. All right, so Last Crack, you guys been around in the 90s, then a big blank break. What caused this new campaign to happen? Who wants to start?
What caused us to get back together?
Yep.
Well, it's chemistry. We're brothers. We love each other, and the time is right, I guess. You know, I mean, can't let a good thing just go away. And I guess the time's right. We all did different things, and we're doing it again. That's about it.
We had some material we worked on a while ago, and it kind of sat dormant in Paul's studio for an undisclosed period of time. And then usually Last Crack gets together because we're invited to do something.
Yeah.
And so it happened with this Brat Fest event, this festival in Madison. And after that, we kind of got inspired to see if we could use the stuff that we had already laid down, and then we added to it and messed it all up and worked on it for a long time, and that is the Uprising.
Mm-hmm. Anything to say about why you came back?
Like Bono said, the reunion shows. That's initially what brought us back together. I'm lost. Go to Paulie.
Pablo.
I agree with what I was just going to agree with what he's saying.
He just
the
made all the
reunion
good points.
Yeah, the reunion shows we've done for years and years since the end of the official band. But we've always gotten back together every few years and done shows. And
And every time we get back together, it just seems like the chemistry is there. Because like Don said, and we've all tried other projects, and they're all good projects, and they've all been great bands. But when this group of guys gets together, it's a different...
It's magic.
Yeah, it's a different vibe.
It's worth getting back
It's
together for,
chemistry.
man.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it.
And
Now-
we're always going, like, when we were practicing for those reunion shows, we're always going, like, why don't we do this all the time? You know? And then sometimes we don't after that. But this time
And
it's
this
stuck.
time we are. Yes,
Yeah.
this time we are.
Now this time you have a record
Yes.
to promote, so it isn't just one-off reunion. There's actually a big effort to make
All
the
original.
album.
Look at this beautiful artwork.
That's right.
One of our
Okay.
good friends actually did this himself, and it's kind of a masterpiece. You know, it's so detailed. Turned out just the way we wanted it. Nice matte cover and super quality. Makes a great shirt.
The insert's awesome too.
Lyrics included.
Let's talk about the music. How did it come together? You mentioned that you had some old material lying down, but how did you bring it up into 2019?
Boom.
Yeah, I mean, not even old material, but we had some stuff that we had previously worked on before we kind of hibernated again, and certain things came about to kind of just get it rolling. And I think that the main thing was we were at practice one night and we were playing Icicle off the new album, messing around with it, like, remember this, you know? And I posted a video of it on Facebook, and Johnny Danger, one of our local DJs in Madison, played my Facebook video on the air, and that sort of fired us up
Yeah,
to
us
get
inspired.
Icicle going. And then we were like, wow, let's dig into this stuff. And we just set a focus on completing a whole album.
How long did it take for the whole project to
A
come
couple
together?
of years,
About 2
probably,
years.
yeah.
Approximately 2 years from start to finish.
And as a finished product, how are people responding to the new Last Crack music?
Incredibly, like 100%. It's been all positive, and on our end, we really feel it's like our best album we've ever done. And we had a lot to live up to with Burning Time,
True.
which was, you know, we always held that really highly, and a lot of our fans did, and I think we've bettered it.
Now, I have another question. You mentioned that a local DJ would play a song of a Facebook video. So what kind of a following are you enjoying in Madison? Because that seems like pretty intense.
Yeah, we've always had good backing there, and the specific DJ, Johnny Danger, has played us, you know, on the local rock station, JJO up there.
WJJO.
Yeah, great station that supports us a lot. We play their events and stuff. But I mean, he's played us even when he wasn't supposed to play us, even if he'd get in trouble for playing us. He's been a real supporter of the band for 20 years.
So he basically kept the name alive even though the band was not active.
He really, yeah, he's given us some great pushes more than once.
And then playing, once or twice a year also kept us kind of in the minds of the locals anyway,
That's true.
We're still waiting for reviews,
Yeah, it's only been an album, month and a half now
Yeah.
that the album's been out. So I mean, we really haven't got a lot of feedback. We've gotten feedback from the fans, and I would say 99.9% of it has been absolutely positive.
What's it like to promote a record nowadays? I mean, things have changed. Last time you had a label, backup, you had a big-time producer, MTV was playing your video. It's all gone now. Now it's back to do it
here's the beauty of
yourself.
that is that we were the last of an era of bands that could actually get their foot in the door, get a record deal, our name was promoted worldwide. So now things are so much more DIY, and I think it's way harder with the mass of bands all trying to get their stuff out there. It gives us an edge that we did what we did then, because basically I always look at it as like our foot's in the door. You might, like Last Crack, I kind of remember that. At least you've got
pockets of
that.
fans all over the world,
Yep.
here and there, because the album never really got real big, but we still have pockets of fans everywhere.
And as far as promotion goes, that's this guy, pretty much.
And EMP.
Should be available.
Right.
EMP's doing a very good job
I mean,
getting it out there for us. So.
he uses Facebook and Instagram really well. Let's say he's got
I'm a
like
social
a few
media
different
guy.
identities,
Uh-huh.
and so we can slip in Last Crack news on a bunch of different sites.
Brauer, your message was always very deep and spiritual. What are some of the things you're singing about now these days?
Let's see: sex, drugs, religion,
That's not so deep.
greed,
Uh-huh.
death, all that good stuff. I don't think there's really there's really probably not a light lyrical song on this album. I don't think there's a Blue Fly Fish Sky. What would that be? Bullet Train?
Yeah.
Maybe Bullet Train is kind of like the most whimsical lyrically, but even that one kind of carries a heavy undertow.
How many of these songs are being played live? Because I mean, you have a lot of songs from the previous records that were really good. So how is this material competing for the space?
Well, we have a kind of a limited time slot now, right? So for this deal, we're playing 30 to 40 minutes, so that we're doing all new stuff. But I mean, we could play, probably good 2.5 hours if we wanted to throw everything out there.
We still include the old stuff, but not these shows, our other shows. We were probably doing 50-50 maybe.
Yes.
50-50 old stuff, 50 the new
Focus
stuff.
is new stuff now, just to get people hearing the new music.
Now, cool thing about Last Crack is that just about every original member except for one came back, right?
Yes.
And obviously, the one I'm talking about cannot be here for obvious reasons,
Awesome.
right? But we do have a new drummer.
Yes, we do.
So how do you?
How did
Fill
you
it.
get here, dude?
Yeah, there you
How did
go.
I get here? Well, we were actually, Paul and I and Don were in a band when we were like 15 years old, called Hardline.
So there are
Long
ties.
time.
Yep.
Long
Long-time friends.
Long-time friends, yeah. And I mean, I wasn't in, and we kind of broke up, and they started Last Crack, or Monarch, or whatever it was called. Shortly thereafter, and that went for what, 3-4 years, you guys, something like that. Then after that, we kind of just got back together, started playing together again, and then we'd break up, or not break up, we just wouldn't jam and play with
We do
other
a couple
people.
shows,
Oh yeah, and,
fall apart, do shows, fall apart.
yeah, not really fall apart. We just with
had
so
other
many,
stuff going on.
so many other things. But after a while, we got tired of playing with other musicians. When we get together, it was just magic. It just happened, and it was even if we didn't practice, we were immediately very, very good. I mean, we were just on spot. I mean, and then when we practiced, we even got better and better and better.
So he was one of the only people that I really think could even take that job of fill drumming, because he was there from the beginning. He was there through all the Last Crack stuff, saw all the stuff, friends with Phil.
Right,
They
he's
would,
as much of a brother to us as Phil was.
Not only that, he was the best drummer around.
Yeah,
He's the best
absolutely.
drummer
So, I mean,
around.
it was an easy decision.
How did it happen when, if you and Phil were kind of like competing musicians, drummers, how did Phil angle into Last Crack?
I don't know how that did.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Me and Don left Hardline broke up.
Yeah.
Then me and Don put up our ad for two guitarists formerly of Hardline on a music store musicians board, and Phil and Todd contacted us and said, "Hey, would you come on over?" And came over and checked them out, and we jammed for like a year like that before we found Butto on the exact same musicians billboard.
We never talked
Singer
about
back
this.
from Austin.
We never talked about this, but I know we came after you. Me and him came after you for the job, and we only got Todd and Phil because you didn't want to. You didn't want to play with us.
Yeah. I never did like you guys.
And speaking of Phil, I mean, Phil wasn't just a drummer, he was a personality. There's a lot of charisma there. How do you remember Phil? Who wants to start?
He was the one that wasn't afraid to cut the cake.
True.
Right? So he's a big personality. He dove in first, man. He was a motivator. He wanted to live life to its fullest,
And
he really did, and he did.
And he did. I mean, he was the reason that we got where we got back in the day with Road Racer and just getting our music out there, because he was on the phones, working the phones every minute that he could with anybody he could make contact with. He was always doing something to further
Always.
the band.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a business guy. He's
Now Butto is.
Yep. No, brother, the accountant.
We were talking about the scorpion story on the way up here, me and Don. You remember this?
I don't know. I'll have to.
Care to tell it?
You know this?
I don't,
The frog and the scorpion? Well, Don and I have been reminiscing for the past 3 or 4 hours in the car on the ride up here from Peoria. And we were talking about Phil. Is this cool? And I remember we were at the Funk House, like practicing in this little storage warehouse. And we were talking about something about, people and everything. And Phil goes, "You know the story about the frog and the scorpion, right?" And I go, "No." He goes, "Okay, well, there was a big fire in the woods, right? And the forest is burning down. And all the animals are running away from the fire, and they came to this river, okay? A big river there, and everybody was like, we're gonna die, we have to swim across this river somehow. Animals flew in, tried to swim through the river, and some made it, and then there was a frog who was about to leap into the water, and a scorpion came up behind him and said, 'Hey, frog, please give me a ride across the river, because I can't swim, I hate water, so please give me a ride.' And the frog goes, 'Are you kidding me? You're a scorpion. I'm not gonna give you a ride, you'll sting me and kill me.' And the scorpion goes, 'Why would I do that? Because I wanna live, you wanna live, you can help me get across this river, we'll get over there and we'll both be happy.' And he goes, 'Okay, hop on.' Scorpion gets on the frog, frog jumps in, halfway across the river, the scorpion stings the frog. 'Why'd you do that?' Scorpion says, 'I'm a scorpion.' And they both drown.
Yeah.
Oh, that's happy.
Yeah, so what the hell's that got to do with
Yeah, what
last
is the
crack?
moral
It's
of the
made,
story?
an indelible print on me. Phil told me that story.
Phil died of meningitis on a couch, alone in a living room. He went to the doctor because his head was hurting so bad, and they wouldn't accept him, and he went and he died on a couch. That's how he died, meningitis.
It's a sad story. Finally, here's the evidence of your recording career. Give me the history of Last Crack using each record. So show it.
Ooh.
Okay, so this
say
one.
whatever you want, whatever comes to your head.
I want to say the first thing.
Yeah.
This one here has a lot of these songs on there, but this, I just got to be honest, could sound better. I don't
could.
really listen to it. It doesn't, These songs are on this live album. This live album gave these songs a chance.
The life that they should have had.
Yeah, gave these songs
The
a chance
recording's
to sound
harsh
good.
on that.
Horrible, yeah, bitter, whatnot. Well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, if you're gonna buy it, go buy it.
This is just raw. Okay,
Yeah,
the
it's
cover
very,
is raw.
very raw.
It looks like it's like in a Las Vegas hotel room. It's just raw. I mean, our recording is raw. The tones are raw.
Feels like a demo in
It's
a way.
Yes.
It was
It's too bad.
It was
aggressive.
recorded at Prince's studio, Paisley Park.
Yeah, it
Funny
did,
enough,
it did
you know.
not have to sound like that either.
Yeah.
I think largely part of the reason is the amps that me and Paul chose. I didn't know much about tone in those days. I was real young. I didn't have my sound yet. I didn't get my sound till this album. So this is not my guitar sound on there. They're rented amps, and it's just not my sound. We didn't come together tonality until this happened.
And the funny thing about this that just comes to mind right now is we had music for this, but we were still, I remember getting up every day and going into that like rental house or whatever that we were using to practice and get there, and we would practice during the day, and I'd go there and take my amps out and like sit there and try to write stuff because we only had about half this album.
Cool.
And you walked into the studio in LA with only about half the vocals ready. I mean, and we were going to record with Dave Jordan, and I was kind of freaking out, just thinking like, man, this is like our big shot, and like, we don't even really have enough stuff. But out came this album, which I think is awesome.
I remember Dave Jordan gave us a chance to play the music for him, and he was going to sit back and make his critique or judge it or whatnot, make any changes he felt. He didn't really have anything. He said, I like it. Except he had an idea to tie a little intro on at the beginning of one of the songs or something.
Said,
How
how about
was
if
the three songs together? Wicked, Mini, Energy Mind. He just said, how about if you tie all three of those together? So at the end of Energy Mind, we revisit the Wicked Sandbox riff in a different key.
Well, the odd thing is, I did see you live when Sinister Funkhouse came out.
You saw us live?
At the Milwaukee Metal Fest.
yeah.
You were like the most band that stood out. And I
Really?
watched you perform, and I don't think I liked the songs, but there was just something there.
Yeah.
You know, and it completely materialized. I mean, then I got the record, I listened to the record, but what changed between Sinister to me and Burning was the expression. You know, expression got super strong. All of a sudden, the band became deep, spiritual. I mean,
Matured.
you know, it was there. It was there.
This is intense youth right there.
Yeah.
Just raw energy.
That's right,
And
Paul.
so, yes,
Yeah.
we did mature
Intense
and learned a
youth.
lot going to that.
Actually, I mean, lyrically, this one was kind of like a lot of tongue-in-cheek lyrics, like kind of making fun of metal music, right? I mean, Shelter, We Got Control. You know, it was kind of like
Volcanic
the
Love.
lyrics were kind of tongue-in-cheek, like making fun of
Volcanic
metal
Love,
music
yeah.
with that powerful aggression. And then here, started to go into my writings a lot more, and which were heavier topics, and so
Big time mental growth.
yeah. This is much more refined. That's just all out.
So when Burning Time came out, there was a heavy promotion machine, and you were kind of in sync with what was going on scene-wise. How did the album do for you?
Critically acclaimed. That's probably the biggest thing out of it.
That's
It
kind
was.
of our
I mean,
thing.
I bragged about this record to anyone who would listen.
We didn't last long enough to really see it happen.
After
3 months.
Release, we never had a chance to go out and
3 months
promote the
after,
album.
yeah.
It just we never had the chance to go out and play because it lasted 3 months and then it was done.
I mean, we did some
And
short
so, I mean,
tours.
Road
Yeah, I mean,
Racer
you
at that
toured with
point-
Armored Saint. You did some
Child
shows on
America.
your own. Cut those, and then it just kind of came to a stop.
Sure did.
Why?
Sure did.
I've told the story a lot. Anybody know it?
Butto left. In San Antonio, he told us at a pool that he was leaving, but he would finish the tour.
We talked about this yesterday too. Do you remember? But
ahead.
what did I say?
Yeah, I'm having trouble remembering.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, we each have our angle on
You
this.
didn't think it was going to go any further.
Right.
You
I
told
thought
me.
we had achieved the best that we could do. And then Phil and I, okay, the story is Last Crack works as a seesaw, right? And Otto's on one side, Phil's on the other side, Pablo's the fulcrum, Reno's here a little bit towards Phil, and Don's here a little bit towards me. And this balance is what makes the band work, okay? Or did. And so the tension between me and Phil was always kind of like up and down. And I don't know, I didn't trust Phil. Okay, the Scorpion story, man, it affects me. I didn't trust Phil. I didn't know him maybe well enough or whatever. I mean, some of his behavior was kind of like, come on, man, what the fuck? But I didn't trust him, and I kind of felt that we would be a Titanic. We're gonna hit an iceberg, and I jump ship.
What about the music? I mean, the music was strong. I mean, that album had a punch. It still has a punch to this day.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, that's maybe why critics like Last Crack. I don't know about if commercial success ever comes for us.
Yeah.
It would just be.
Probably that's my next question. Why didn't the public buy into this? I mean,
Well,
You
it
have
wasn't
all-
work. We didn't work it long enough.
Exactly.
We just didn't work it long enough. It would have happened. You know, a year later. I
Had
mean,
we toured on
we
this,
quit
pushed this out for
3
2
months
years?
after the album came out.
Well, and then we would have had another album, and that would have been
there was more
pretty
plans
much
for
where
more
we end up
videos.
there.
We would have
You
gotten
know,
on more
we would have
tours.
evolved.
We got
Again.
Yeah, there was a lot
better
of plans.
tours.
It just it never got to where it was supposed to go. I mean, Road Racer had a lot of plans for us as far as tours and the support they were putting into us. We were going to have another video for Burning Time on MTV, but none of that ever elaborated just because of the breakup.
So it could have, right?
could've.
Well, could have.
Yeah, because it was-
because here's the thing. This isn't really like a whole lot of other stuff that's out there. And then to follow this, if we had lasted another 3 or 4 years, we would have fit in so much better with bands like Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam. And we would have had another album and would have evolved even more. I think if you look at our albums from here to here to here, we sort of mature and straighten out and the songs get better as it goes. So I think that would have happened, and we would just have like 5 or 6 more albums sitting here, you know, instead of just
There
this
would have been
one.
more than that.
do you think getting on something like Lollapalooza would have helped?
Oh my
Absolutely.
God, yes. Yeah,
Because I that's what I envisioned you. I mean,
So, and my point,
That
what's
was
going to
the-
be
yeah.
before too, is that this is just different. We were on stage last night, and we're in a metal club, and we're playing with metal bands. And I told Butto that I felt like we were, not like we sound like them, but I felt like Radiohead. Like how Radiohead is like their own thing, and they just are
We
Radiohead.
never sound like
you know?
anybody we're
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
So I think when you're unique, especially in this world, you really stand out. You almost get people's attention. We don't try to be, we just do what we want to do. And it comes out as unique because we're all so different. But when you're unique, it stands out from the bunch. You don't sound like everybody else, and at the very least, they'll remember you. But on top of it, we're all good players and we have something cool to bring together. So.
that's definitely true. So finally, where is this gonna go from now? Is it another 3 months?
It's impossible to know. It's impossible to know, really. It's impossible to know.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Straight up, hopefully. Straight up. he says.
Yeah, we're just hoping for some opportunities to be presented to us. The album's so fresh and new right now. We're in the process of possibly getting some booking agents to start booking some small tours. But yeah, I mean, we just want to go and push this thing as hard as we can push it.
Now, what's it like to reestablish yourself? Obviously, it's not a problem in Madison because the name has been kept. But outside of Madison, what's it like to start over? Because in many ways, yeah, you have this body of work, but
What's it like to start over?
It's awesome.
you know, all of a sudden you do.
Just like I said, the feedback that we've been getting back is so positive. I mean, it's awesome.
Hey, wait.
We're excited as hell.
We just
How
need to
about
keep working at it.
humiliating?
Well, you know, it is kind of nice though. I mean, it's every place we played, there's people there that are Last Crack fans.
Yeah.
No matter where we play, there's always Last
yes,
Crack fans.
there is.
And we have to restart small, but
Yeah, it's like
that's
we're starting
obvious.
over almost.
Yeah, but we're regrowing it, and it was actually cool. We were all hanging out last night. I mean, we're away from town right now. We're on a couple of dates with Ellefson, and so we're kind of forced to all be together, and it's actually really cool. It just kind of feels cool to be doing stuff again.
Yes.
Like,
Sure does. man.
Awesome.
It helps the mold.
Sure does.
Do you feel that you can probably do more now that you're much more mature, 30 years later or so?
we can work together better.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still have disagreements and we still argue and fight, but we can get around it. We know each other's personalities so well now that it's easy to forgive each other.
Yeah, you
There's
shrug it
not
off
worth
and go,
it
yeah, it's a bad day,
breaking
whatever.
up the band over one argument. It's just we're much more mature.
Agreed. Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Uprising.
The Uprising. Last Crack.